Welcome, everyone, to Behind the Scales, where we rip the scales of our vision off and deal with things that people try to hide in the background, mental health issues. Today's episode is deeply personal. We are sitting down with someone who's a 13-year suicide survivor. That's a lot to think about right there. Someone who has walked through PTSD, depression, and severe anxiety and found healing in unexpected places, the reptile world. This is a story about survival, purpose, and how sometimes the calmest creatures can steady the loudest storms. So, everyone, put your hands together. Let's welcome Prince Elias Dainels to the stage.
Yay.
Hey,
Thanks
Elias.
for having me.
Oh, thank you for accepting the invitation. I deeply appreciate it. And,
No problem.
thanks for the dedication. I know you didn't have good Wi-Fi signal. You then jumped in your car and drove out to where you could get good connection. That's dedication right there.
Always, always. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
That's good. I want to shout out to my boy Bosa. You can see the background in my
Yes. Bosa strong. We love you, Bosa.
Well, introduce yourself a little bit, Elias. Tell us who you are, what you're about.
I'm just a young kid, young relatively, from Memphis, Tennessee. I've been doing reptiles. Well, I've been keeping reptiles since 2018. My business is kind of unorthodox in a way. It started off with photo shoots using my snakes as models.
Right.
And we've been doing that in the entertainment wise since 2018. And I'm just now, as of last 2023, started breeding. So I'm new to the whole breeding world, but I love these snakes. I love these animals. It's a good addiction in my eyes.
So have you had any clutches yet? What you got going on?
I've had one clutch back in 2023. It was just a pastel. It's very sentimental. It was a pastel that a former student of mine, for those who don't know, I'm also a teacher. A former student of mine, his father passed away suddenly, and it was his father's snake. And so he was like, hey, I can't take care of it. My mom is afraid of it. Could you care for her and give her a forever home? And I said, yeah, I'll adopt her. That's cool. And so one day she stopped eating for me, and my mentor, she said, well, let's put her on the ultrasound. Let's just see. And we saw that she was building follicles. And at that point, I've had her for like 5 years. Never thought about breeding. And they was like, yo, you can stick a male in her right now and it will be the only lock you need. And so my mentor gave me a Cypress Mojave gold blush male, said, take him home with her, put them together. They locked that night, and that was it. And then I just had a clutch of 3, and she gave me a clutch of 3 eggs, an all-gener that had both mom and dad. And then I still got those babies to this day. They're just pets. I have no plan on breeding those because they're just pastels and cypresses, but I love them. But this season, I have 2 females that should be giving me a clutch any day this week or next week. They've been past due. One girl is at like the 45-day mark of her since her pre-lay shed. So any day I should wake up or, come home from work and there'll be some eggs somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to the people in the chat room. We got Bosa. Love you, man. It was awesome last night the way the community turned out. I think we the RWO and Wiz Constrictors raised $7,500.
Let's go. Great job, everybody.
But we want you to know, Bosa, all those 100 and some people was in that room bidding last night. We don't go away with the auction. We're still going to be here in your corner fighting for you, brother. So we love you.
Yep.
Big Mike's out there in the chat.
What up, Big Mike?
And my wife is out there.
What up, wifey?
And Sean's double dipping too, so he's out there.
Yes. What up, Sean?
So, and hey, I won't say what they say on the other shows, but Big Greg Rippin's in the scene too. So.
Who the fuck is Greg? Yeah, that's my guy. Shout out to TJ also.
Yeah. Well, in the intro, as I said, Elias is a 13-year survivor of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And props to Elias right now. It's something that she's willing to talk about and dig into. And hey, Jamie. So I'm just going to jump into it, Elias. When you think back to the lowest point of your life there, what do you wish people understood about what you were carrying, the load that you're carrying then, that maybe you couldn't relate at that point?
That's a loaded question, but it goes with what I'm about to say. And I know I'm not offended. I'm not one of those people who get easily offended. But just to correct you, we use he pronouns for me. And okay. I appreciate that instead of she, but that goes into your question, because growing up, I always felt different. I always felt outside of my body, like I couldn't connect, like I didn't belong. And so for years, but I grew up in a very strict religious household where even just the sight or mention of a gay person was like, oh, that's a belt to your behind, you know what I'm saying? So I knew to keep quiet. And so I had to carry that burden with me most of my life. Not being able to, first, I didn't have the language as a child. Like we didn't say transgender. It was either you're gay or, you're either gay, straight, or you're one of those lady boys. That was the language that was said around us. And so it was just hard growing up as a kid, not knowing the language. And then once I figured that out and got older, like in my 20s, I was like, oh, shoot. So this is what I am. This is what I been feeling all along. And I was like, well, I definitely can't come out. Not to my religious parents. I can't tell them none of this stuff. That what your daughter wants to be your son now. Like that's not going to happen. And so, I just struggled with that all through high school, college years. And then one day, I'll never forget it. It was October 15th, 2012. I was actually living in Florida at the time because I got an internship to work at Disney World. So I was living in Florida and my parents came to visit, my siblings. We had a great time. It was amazing. Like I was on cloud 9 and then they left. And when they left, I remember sitting in my room saying, I can never go back home. Like, that's what I was saying. I can never go back home, because I realized in that moment that I can never go back home as the person that they know me as, or they knew me as. Right. Like and I was like, but what am I going to do? Because either I stay in Florida forever, or I have to go back to Memphis and continue to live as a female and all that other stuff. And so I was like, F it. I don't want to be here anymore. And that's when I took that attempt. And I was like, I just don't want to be here anymore. It's not worth it. It's not worth going through all that struggle. And it's definitely not worth being rejected by my parents. That was my biggest fear, being rejected by my parents, especially my mom. Because it was just us for the longest time before she remarried and then gave me all my brothers and sisters. So I was like, I can't do this. I'd rather just not be here. And fortunately for me, I survived. And my roommates called 911 and then my mom took a flight from Memphis straight when she got the news straight to Orlando. Flew me out the next day, and I checked myself into a hospital because it was just that was my low point, and that was what I call my rock bottom moment, basically.
Right. And having been in a very strict religion for a period of time myself, I can only imagine the pressure that put on you, because according to most of them, you were going straight to hell, right?
Facts. It was like, well, what's the point then? Because, either I'm going to live in hell on earth pretending to be something I'm not, or I live in my truth and then die and go to hell. So let me just go ahead and just make it easy for everybody and just eliminate. Right? That was my thought process in the day. But, you're in your 20s and you just, your frontal lobe isn't fully developed, and you just you go off emotions instead of logic, or you think of the worst case scenarios instead of what if the best case scenario, the opposite happens. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah, it was
Well,
rough. It was rough for me.
I can imagine. Well, I shared with you earlier, and I'll share with everyone, I never attempted suicide, but there was definitely a time in 2004 when I lost my wife that those thoughts entered my mind. I had two children, a
Mhm.
young boy and a daughter who had just entered her womanhood and started having those issues and things. And the job I worked with at the time, I was out of town at any given moment. I might wake up and have to be across the country,
Mm.
and I guess something in me just wouldn't let me give up. But
Yeah.
I do understand the pain that you're suffering, and I do feel. I mean, I can't say I feel it because it's different for all of us, right?
Yeah.
But so tell me, 13 years later now, what does being a suicide survivor mean to you today?
Um, proud, honestly, because I want to say it happened in 2012. I want to say I felt shame around that incident, and regret, and I guess survivor's remorse, up until probably the pandemic 2020. Like, it was just every time October 15 came around, I was like, I believe, I can't, I did that or I tried that. And especially when I would hear stories about people who lost loved ones to suicide, that would really kill me. Like, I'm like, man, why didn't that person survive theirs? Like, why couldn't they still be here with their loved ones? Like, it was rough. But now, today, I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud that I made it this far. It hasn't been easy. There have been some rough patches. There have been some years worse than others. Some people complain about COVID and the pandemic of 2020 and how horrible it was to be locked in the house. For me, it was a heaven. So to not
Yeah,
be social and not to be around people, that was like the best time ever for me. I love 2020, besides the week I got COVID. But other than that, I enjoyed it. But for my mental, but it was just. But after that, it's just now I look at it with pride. Like, this past October was the 13th year, so this year will be the 14th year. I was proud of myself. I was like, damn, I made it this far. And to think of where my mental is now, like, I still go through a lot, especially with my transition. I'm not where I am physically, due to finances, but it's like I'm okay with who I am now. I'm okay being me right now. I'm learning to love myself now and not have so much anger and resentment and like, why was I born this way and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm just happy. I'm just happy that I still got a chance, because if I had died that night, there were a lot of people I would have never met.
that's right.
If I would have died that night, I wouldn't even have my first snake, Jafar, my first ever ball python. If I would have died that night, I wouldn't ever got a chance to experience the things I've experienced in life so far. I wouldn't have the career. I wouldn't be teaching the students I teach now, because I was working at Disney World. I wasn't even thinking about being a teacher. I wasn't thinking about going to grad school and getting a master's. None of that was in my forefront. I had no future in my forefront beforehand. And so it's just like wow, like so much stuff, so many people, so much love that I have now, I would have never experienced had that attempt been successful.
Right. I want to shout out to some more people in the audience. We got John at Moreforge. I'll be on
Triple J's?
I'll be on Moreforge on the 18th as a guest.
Yes.
Vance,
Blue
Zombie Morse is out there.
What up, Vance?
My nephew, Ferg Bob, he was on the show 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Dope.
Reptile Dysfunction. We see you out there.
Yes.
But when we're down like that, in those moments where we're considering such things, we don't think about the effect of the future that us doing something like that will take. Because I personally believe that there's people that only Elias can reach. There's people that only you walking into their life will make a difference. I can't help. I can't help them. You can. And I think that we're all made for a purpose and a time. And I believe that fully because I have died more than once, not by suicide, just medical situation. And there's no reason that I should be here, except there's something I haven't accomplished that needs to be done.
Yeah.
That's right, Reptile.
Oh.
All right, we're going to cut away for a minute to our first commercial break, and I want everybody to pay real close attention to it, because Deeds Not Words 2 for Camp Freedom is a very important mission, and we want everyone to please come take a part of it. And here we go.
Operation Deeds, Not Words 2 is dedicated to empowering and uplifting disabled veterans and first responders through unwavering support, meaningful resources, and real opportunities that honor their service and sacrifice. Our mission is to build a thriving, impactful organization driven by the shared vision, commitment, and accountability of our team, because when we work together, there is no ceiling on what we can accomplish.
We are equally committed to the growth of our team members, actively encouraging them to expand their voices, followings, and businesses as essential pillars of our mission. Being part of Operation Deeds, Not Words reflects great credit upon our members, uniting communities in the Fat Man Nation. Green Line morphs under a shared purpose rooted in service, resilience, and action-driven impact. Deeds, not words.
First, I'm really excited because in the auction last night, I got two photos from Jay Fisherman Photography. I got a viper head and I believe a macaw parrot. And can't wait for that to arrive so I can get him up in my snake room, because he is an awesome photographer. Your mic is off. Oh,
yes. Yes. No, my car was making noise, so I was trying to mute myself while you were talking.
I got you. And I got to give a shout out to this guy right here, Mark on Reptiles, Kyle. He hooked me up with Elias. That's the only reason that you're here. I wouldn't have probably known about your story about it. So we appreciate you, Kyle. Well, one more question about what we've talked about so far, and then we're going to move on. Was there a moment during your recovery that you realized, I'm going to make it?
Wow. That's a good one. I think there were a lot of different aha moments for me, but I think the most significance for me was when I finally did come out to my mom and my grandma. And I'm glad I was able to do that before my grandma passed. When I came, because those two women, those are my heroes. They helped raise me from day one. And so when I finally talked to my therapist, because I was still an outpatient at the mental hospital here in Memphis, when I got home from a session with my therapist and I just broke down in front of my grandma and my mom, and I told them the truth and the reason why I even attempted, they both just embraced me and they loved me. And I'll never forget, my grandma said, I may not understand. I may not ever understand. I might not ever agree, but nothing, not even my own beliefs, is going to stop my love for you. Right. Like, you will always be my baby, no matter what. And that was it. That was all everything I needed. I didn't care about anybody else's opinions of me. I didn't care what anybody said. I'm like, once my grandma said that nothing's gonna come between her love for me, that was it. And my mom same way, that was it. I was like, yeah, I can survive this. This ain't the end of the world. I can move on and live my life. And even if they religiously don't agree, at the end of the day, I'm still their baby. And that's all that mattered. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those people that were shunned, cut off, excommunicated, kicked out. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want that to be my story. And it ended up not being my story. And that's when I realized if I can make it through the hardest, in my mind, the hardest situation ever, I can make it through anything.
And I get that. You know, my grandmother was my rock. She was that foundation in my life that nothing changed. She was there every day. She was herself every day. And no matter what happened, she was there for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had a lot of deaths in my life. You know, I'm 60 some years old.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, my grandmother passing was one of the hardest things that's ever happened to me. It was a big thing. Well, let's go back to 2014. You met someone with a Burmese python. Crossroads in a healing journey. What did that moment represent for you?
That moment represented a lot because growing up, I grew up on a farm. I always loved animals. Steve Irwin was always on Safumafu, all that stuff. And so I always was intrigued about reptiles. And I always thought snakes were like the coolest thing. But my parents, no, that's the devil. So it was like, I never thought in my wildest dreams having a snake as a pet was a thing. Mm-hmm. Like I always thought your pets were either cats, dogs, fish, or hamsters. That was it. Right. And so when that moment of working at Target and we had our little work picnic or whatever, company picnic, and my coworker brought his giant Burmese python, Nate, for us to meet, and he wrapped the snake around my entire body, and I held him and I was like, this is amazing. This is like my wildest dream comes true. I feel like Steve Irwin in this moment. And it was just great. And then I was like, this is your pet? He was like, yeah. He said, I got like 5 of these at the house. And I was like, I would love to have a snake like this, but I don't know. But at that time I was living in an apartment. I was like, I don't think I can have a snake this big though. And he was like, it's okay. There are a lot smaller pythons. You can have a ball python, whatever. And I was like, okay, bet. And so that was the beginning of everything. Like just holding Nate and feeling him wrap around me. I'm like, this is amazing. I really feel like a king right now holding this snake.
Well, that pretty much answers my next question. I was going to ask you, what was it about reptiles that felt different from other distractions or hobbies?
These animals are so different from other animals. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, so I'm used to mammals. I'm used to pigs, goats, horses, dogs, everything. But it was like these snakes, they were just, at least the ones I met, they were just always chill. Yeah. Nate was just chill. He was just hang on you and just relax. You could hear him breathing heavy and stuff. And it was just very relaxing. And I was like, wow, to have an animal this calm. I don't have to chase around the house. I don't have to chase up and down the yard, like come back here, I ain't got to do nothing. It's just very, very calming, relaxing, and it was just laid back. I think that's the best thing because I'm a laid back person. So it's just a real laid back animal that I feel like, okay, if I have this as a pet, I don't have to worry about walking it every day. I don't have to worry about a babysitter when I go out of town. It doesn't eat every single day of the week. Like this is amazing. Like this is just a perfect pet for me.
Yeah, they do. I mean, same thing for me. It's just something about they're so serene.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, I tell people sometimes that they said, why? I don't understand. I said, to me, when those storms are roaring between my ears, I pick one up and it's like Jesus walked on the water.
That's a great way to put it.
Some people may not like that analogy, but that's the feeling, you know. So
just having it on my shoulders, it just does something. Feeling it constrict, it's like a massage. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah. Well, in 2015, you brought home your first classic ball python, and you still have him today, right?
Yep, 10 years old.
What did bringing him home mean to you emotionally?
I was just excited. It was like a kid in a candy store. It was a Repticon Halloween day, and I went. My friend, the same friend from Target who had the Burmese, was walking me around, telling me which breeders to trust, which breeders to stay away from, telling me where I could get I was looking at the tanks, the Exoterra tanks, because there was somebody selling those there. And he was like, nah, we finna go back to Target. We finna go to work. We finna go and get some Sterilite tub. I'm finna teach you how to poke holes in it. All that stuff with the heat mat. We gonna do this a more cheaper way than buying $200 Exoterra tank. And I was like, okay, so I'm following him. And then we're looking, and he was like, is there any snake that catches your eye? And of course, at that time, I see pies. $1,000. Can't afford that on my Target check. I see a banana, 5 something. Can't afford that one. And I'm just constantly going around up and down the tables. And then I look at this deli cup and I see a $10 normal. And I was like, oh, I said, oh, he's affordable.
Right.
But then I asked the breeder, is this male, female, how's the temperament? Because my friend told me all the right questions to ask. And he took him out the deli cup, put him in my hand. He said, you tell me how's temperament. And it was just, and then Jafar periscoped. He periscoped and looked dead at my eyes. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in love. Like this is my boy. And I was like, here, take my money, sir, take my money. And I was just so happy. And it was a connection. Now, granted, Jafar just sees me as a big monster holding him, but I'm looking at him like, oh, this is my new baby. This is my son right here. Like he chose me. At least that's in my head. And I was just so, so happy. And I still got him to this day. That's my boy. That's my best friend right there.
And I'm glad that your first snake was a classic Python Regis.
Yeah.
Because they get a bad rap. Today we're all chasing morphs. We wanted to have this and that and other things, but deep underneath those scales, they're like you and I. We're all the same. We're all the same.
Exactly.
Same problems and struggles. So that normal classic looking ball python will do the same healing as a $10,000 morph.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
And you can afford it.
Right. And I come from it from a different perspective, from a photography perspective as well. Breeders, they're chasing these morphs. They breeding these triple and quad heads. And they're like, oh, at least with this pairing, I will never get a normal. Like that's the new thing I've been hearing people say, I'll never get normal. And I'm like, yo, but at least from my business, from a photography perspective, I've given my portfolio, like I'll send people pictures of snakes. Like if models call me or message me, say, hey, we want to do this photo shoot. What do you have available? I will send them the albinos first. I will send them the pies. I will send them the clowns. Well, when I had one, but I don't have clown no more. I will send them all these different morphs, the blackheads, everything. And it never fails. They always ask and book the normals. I only got 2 normals in my collection. No heads, just straight normals, Jasmine and Jafar, and they get booked more than anybody.
Cool.
I don't know what it is, but it's like people love the classics. People love the classics more than, especially non-reptile people who just introduced to snakes. I guess they doesn't seem threatening. I don't know. I don't know the psychology of it, but it's like, you have a beautiful albino or banana or pie, but you chose the classic, which I love. That makes me happy when people choose the classic over anything else.
And we've always heard beauty's in the eye of the beholder, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And thank God, because if it wasn't for that, nobody would have ever had my ugly self. You know what I mean? So before we go into our next break, I got one more question. If you're talking to someone who's never experienced these kind of struggles, PTSD, anxiety, the storms between their head, the chaos inside. How did caring for these reptiles give you and your mind structure?
Mm. They cut out all the noise. When I'm in the area where most of my reptiles are, the living room, when I'm in that space, like last night during the auction, as I'm watching the auction with y'all, I was cleaning. And there have been moments where I catch myself just holding one of the ball pythons for like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, yo, I got to continue cleaning. Like I just get stuck in a trance, just sitting there, just holding like, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful animal. It's crawling on me, smelling everything, crawling on the racks and stuff like that. And it cuts off all the noise. There were times where I really did not hear anything on the auction going on. I didn't hear anything on YouTube, even though I had headphones in my ear, because I'm focused. My brain was focused on the animal, just watching them crawl around. And as I'm cleaning and throwing poop out and giving them fresh water, and as soon as I put them back, they go straight to the water bowl and start drinking. Now I'm staring at them drinking like I've never seen a snake drink before. It's just it the best way I can describe it, it cuts out all the noise. It makes when I'm focusing on the snake, nothing else matters. It's just real quiet, calm.
Same with me. My wife just said in the comments, that's how I am. It don't matter what's going on. If I got one of them near me or in my hands, that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. We got to give our sponsors some attention here, and we appreciate them. So here we go.
Introducing the Python Portal, a ball python breeder who works on snow and true ghost combos, as well as the Tiger Dean.
We also offer many unique custom 3D printed accessories, as well as custom merch, so don't forget to stop by and check us out.
And shout out to Will at Python Portal for without him, we wouldn't have all these dope commercials and intros and things, because he's the man when it comes to that for us, for sure.
Love it.
Well, before I forget, Elias, if you ever want another clown of some kind, let me know. I'm the clown guy, right? If I don't have it, I can probably produce anything you want. Now, you said that you mentioned being very antisocial before you started, before the animals. How did you go from that to doing educational shows and photo shoots?
Well, because I'm antisocial, a lot of stuff happens on a happy accident. Like, I've had some friends over the house, and they knew I had snakes. At this time, I only had two. I had Jafar and Jasmine. And one of them was said, hey, can we hold your snake, or did you just feed? I said, no, I haven't fed them yet. You can hold them. And so they were holding and see how cool they were. And then one wrapped Jasmine around his neck, and he said, take a picture of me right quick. And I was like, okay. So he was modeling in my kitchen. I'm taking pictures. And he was like, oh, this is going to be great when we post on Instagram. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think anything of it. So I posted the picture on Instagram. It went crazy. And all of a sudden, my DMs blew up. People were like, yo, I didn't know you had snakes. That's cool. Hey, I want to do this photo shoot. I want to do that. We're about to do this project. Can we borrow your snake? And the people came to me on accident. Like, I wasn't even trying. I wasn't thinking about a business. None of that stuff. They came to me and started asking me. And so after doing like 10, 12, 13 photo shoots, finally one model said, you need to start charging people. You need to make this a business. You need to make this like a side hustle. And I was like, and she was like, not to get rich or anything, but at least let the snakes pay for their own food. You telling me you spending this much on rats? Charge that much money on photo shoots and every weekend, and that's gonna help pay for rats. And I was like, you know what? That's smart. And so I took her advice, and that's how Creative Reptiles began. Because I was like, well, if I'm going to make a business out of this, I got to come up with some type of name. And so I was like, well, we're working in creativities. We're doing artistic things. So Creative Reptiles, and that's what it was. And then after doing that over and over again, people started asking me, hey, could you bring the snakes to the school? Because at that time, I left Target and transitioned to a teacher assistant because it was like more money and guaranteed vacation days. And so when the schools found out I had snakes, they were like, hey, bring the snakes during this time and to present to the children. And I just added that to my business plan. I was like, okay, so I can bring them. And they was like, well, we're going to pay you as if you are a field trip, technically a field trip. And so that I added that to the budget and stuff. And so basically that's how it began. And so by happy accident, I was forced to not be such an introvert, at least on that front, because people kept coming to me, asking me, could they use my snakes or see my snakes or whatever. And then I literally had to buy a book off Amazon that's called The Introverted Businessman or something like that for people like me to help me, because I was like, how can I market myself without talking to people? And so that book did help. It gave me some good advice and stuff, but I was like, okay, I can't continue to be antisocial. And so when I was asked, I think it was Lady Tiz Exotics, Nicole, she was the very first one, asked me to be on her podcast. That was my very first time speaking and coming out and talking to people in the reptile space, this whole reptile YouTube podcast space. That was my first time like really putting myself out there.
Right.
And that was scary. I had anxiety the whole time. And I was like, I think I should cancel on her, but I did. And it turned out to be very beneficial to where now I have a community of friends.
Right.
In this hobby that wouldn't have happened if I didn't even say yes to that whole interview to doing it.
Right. Hey, and I'm glad you did, because now we can be friends, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that first podcast, when you were sharing your stories and life and things like that, at that point, did you feel vulnerable or empowered?
Oh yeah, no. I was vulnerable. I was so scared. Anxiety ridden, because at that point, the only people who knew me, and they still really didn't know me, were the photography community here in Memphis. Those were the only people who knew of me and at least knew my name and knew my snakes. I would post at that time. I would post my snakes on Facebook every once in a while, and I would post them on Instagram. But I never posted me, like my personality. Like y'all see me in the stories. If I have a rant in my soul, I'll go off on a rant and stuff. None of that was happening back then. Like you would get a picture of a snake and that's it. Call it a day and maybe a couple of hashtags. So I was very, very scared and it was very vulnerable. I was like, what if I come off an asshole, or what if people don't like me, or what if I slip and say something and offend the host? That was my biggest thing. Like, what if I say something and the host get mad and kick me off the show? Like, I was thinking of all the worst case scenarios. Like, I was just so scared. But it ended up being fun, though.
Right. Hey, Dwight. Thank you. Dwight knows that pain too. Dwight's had that pain himself. I understand.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I want to say something to the audience real quick. I saw a comment earlier. I don't remember what it was. But at any time ever during one of my shows, if you see somebody being out of the way in the chat, saying something negative or derogatory, take care of it. Enough said. That distracted me a little bit. Have you ever Have you ever had someone tell your work impacted them? And if so, what did that mean to you?
Yeah. I've had several people come to me and tell me because of what I do, they got their first snake. Like a couple of models that I've worked with years ago. Like there was one model I haven't seen or talked to because she moved out of Memphis. I haven't seen since like 2018-ish, like when I first started. And then all of a sudden I get a DM on Instagram and she was like, I finally got my first pet snake and it's all because of you. Thank you. And I was like, oh, wow, that is dope. And she sent me pictures of it. And I'm like, oh, that is crazy. So I've had kids write me letters, schools I've visited, saying that they love the snakes and they want us to come back and see them. And I've had a lot of those happen. And then one time, not this past year, but the year before, I decided to put myself out there and take the snakes to a comic convention. We vended, we did a whole photo booth over there, and one of the vendors' children kept leaving their parents' booth to come to my booth to talk about the snakes, hold the snakes and stuff. And then at the end, they came and brought me a plushie that their parents were selling off their booth. And it was like, it's saying thank you for being so kind, so nice, showing me your animals. And then this past year, they came back to that same convention and said, we now have a snake and a bearded dragon. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. So I've had those moments here or there trickled in throughout the years, and it makes me so happy to know that I did that type of impact to where now there are children buying snakes and having them as pets. There are adults who are afraid of snakes. I get those a lot. A lot of people who book me for stuff, terrified. They're asking questions. They're shaking right before the shoot or whatever. And I'm like, relax. It's going to be fine. You're worried if the snake's going to bite you. You need to be worried if it's going to accidentally pee on you. That's the biggest question.
Right.
And then by the end of the shoot, they won't even give me my snake back. They're like holding on to it. Like, no, we love Jimmy. We love Jafar. Like I'm like, yeah, but we got to go home. You can't keep my snake forever. But it happens, and it makes me smile every time. Every time.
I just grabbed a tidbit of information from what you just said that I think a lot of those who go to events and expos could bring attention to their table with. You know, if you bring another person with you and you can offer pictures with some reptiles and things, that's going to draw a crowd to your table. And the more people at your table, the more possible sales, right?
Yep.
So
yep. That's why I started doing it. Yeah.
That's a smart move for sure. Well, you've had Jafar, you said 10 years now?
Yes.
What if he could talk? If Jafar could speak, what do you think he would say about his and your journey together in those past 10 years?
Knowing him, he'll probably be like, I'm surprised I'm still alive. Because when I tell you at least his first 2 years of life, I did every mistake you can make as a reptile keeper. I tried, first of all, my friend told me to get a Sterilite tub with the locks from Target. I didn't listen to him. I went and found a glass tank off Facebook Marketplace or whatever you call it. No, Craigslist. It was Craigslist at the time. Yeah. And it was one of those over top lid things. Of course, Jafar got out of that in one night, disappeared for a couple of days. I was freaking out. It was like he was my first escape. He was my first bite because I was feeding without tongs. I was trying to feed with my hands. He was everything. I had the whole heat lamp over his tub with not enough water and humidity. Like every mistake you can make as a first time. I'm surprised that boy's still alive. It was just crazy. But I think if Jafar could talk, he would be happy that we both grown over the years. And also he will probably be happy because I let him breathe this year, that I let him get a girl. He's probably way happier about that because for 10 years he was just a pet. And then I was like, because I work Dinker projects, I'm trying to prove genes out. I said, you know what? I'm finna throw Jafar in this tub, and he's probably very happy with me about that.
Oh, my dogs are going crazy now. Well, I think that maybe Jafar taught you how to be a teacher.
That part, he definitely did. Yep, he definitely did that.
That's good. All right, we're going to go to our last break, and then we'll come back and try to wrap it up a little bit.
The United States Association of Reptile Keepers is a science, education, and conservation-based advocacy for the responsible private ownership of, and trade in reptiles and amphibians. We endorse caging standards, sound husbandry, escape prevention protocols, and an integrated approach to vital conservation issues. Our goal is to facilitate cooperation between government agencies, the scientific community, and the private sector in order to produce policy proposals that will effectively address important husbandry and conservation issues. The health of these animals, public safety, and maintaining ecological integrity are our primary concerns.
If you're a breeder or some kind of sponsor out there and you want to sponsor our show, feel free to give me a shout. We're easy to work with. We'd be glad to have you on. You know, I torment my snakes. People say, why do yours always eat so good? Because when I feed, I think we got close to 50 right now. 49 of them's going to eat, you know. But right now, my snakes and my rodents are in the same room, so they smell that all the time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But that reads to a comment when my wife said to ask me about my first escape. I had, it's not my first one, but it was my most traumatic. My wife wanted a VPI Xanthic, so I made sure she got that, right? And it's a little baby.
Yeah.
I was probably about 200 grams right now, still pretty little. Well, I was cleaning my ASF rack one day, and I happened to drop one of them little boogers, and we couldn't catch it.
Oh, no.
So I decided to put a glue trap out.
Oh.
A couple of glue traps out, okay? Well, we caught the ASF, and I actually got him off of it and got all the glue from his fur, and I went ahead and fed him off. And that was not a problem. The problem was the one glue trap I didn't pick up. Someone came over a couple of days later, and they wanted to look at Cole, the little VPI girl. And so I let them. And she's in a homemade rack. Instead of the sides being solid, it's got a front post and a back post. So when you slide the tub back in, if you get it counterclockwise, there's a little gap back there, okay? Didn't catch that. So I came in here to check on everybody that night, and Cole is gone.
No.
Can't find her. So immediately, you know, I start looking in the other levels of the tub of the rack, because a lot of times they'll crawl to the back of it where the heat is and just hang out on another level. And wasn't there. So the time I didn't have the rat racks yet. Well, I had the ASF in a glass aquarium in the floor underneath the couple of tables. And so we started pulling that out, and damn, there is Cole, face down, eyeball stuck to this damn glue trap.
No.
And I'm panicking. I don't know what to do. I'm messaging Carl at Satchmo Exotics. Dude, what do I do? You know? And so immediately I did the wrong thing and got some Dawn soap and dishwashing trying to get it off, and that didn't do squat. And Googled real quick and talked about using, you know, some kind of like a vegetable oil or whatever like that. And I'm thinking, vegetable oil is about all we got right here right now. So luckily, got it all released from the glue trap. I put about a half inch of vegetable oil in a tub and put a little towel in there and let her swim around in it. And I kept rubbing her and massaging her, and every piece of that glue came off of her.
Yeah.
And she had a little red spot on her neck I was worried about. So it came feeding time, and I was kind of debating, do I feed her or not?
Yeah.
So I went ahead and offered her food, and she scarfed it down like never happened, and she's been going strong. So that
Oh,
was
that's good. That's good.
that's my traumatic escape experience right there.
Yeah, that's very traumatic. I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. I'd probably be screaming, crying, everything.
Well, it was, luckily the wife was here, and I had extra stress because it's her baby. You know,
Hmm.
she's got her snakes too. Okay, she got
Yeah.
that. She's got that one. She got a banana het clown pie girl, and she got a super Mojave. Listen to this. She's got a super Mojave that we found out was a black light, and then went back and researched the breeder she came from, and found out the facts. They listed him wrong. She had a super Mojave hypo clown.
Wow. Dang.
I was talking to my buddy Val out with white feather balls, and
Hmm.
he took a black light to his super Mojave and could see pattern in it. Okay, so I did the same thing. I said, "Man, that's a clown. Got the head stamp, the dripping down the back and stuff, the whole 9 yards." And I said, "We got to look at that." And come to find out, both of the parents were Mojave hypo clowns, and because they couldn't see
Yeah.
the pattern in it visually, they listed it as het, which was our benefit because that couple $100 we spent just increased to like 1,500 maybe.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
very excited
Now I
about that.
gotta go back like my Mojave, my super Mojave.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. I would probably never thought of it. I guess it's been around the idea for a long time, but Val saw it on TikTok. He's got real big into the TikTok side of social media. And I tell
Hmm.
you, people on TikTok are reptile hungry.
Yes, they are.
They are,
Yes.
they want to learn. They're very inquisitive, polite. Uh,
Hmm.
I was on last night with Val for an hour or two, and this guy popped on and didn't know the genes in his snake and things, and we pretty much was able to identify that for him, and so grateful. People are just so appreciative, and I love it.
That's great. Yeah.
People talking about giving is the greatest gift. For some of us, it really is because I get more healing from giving than you do
Hmm.
from receiving it. I'm sure. You know,
Yes, for sure.
so that's what it's about for me. Is it's part of my healing. Well, we're going to ask a couple hard questions. One more hard question, then we'll take it easy on you. Okay. What does survival mean to you right now compared to that moment 13 years ago?
Mm. Right now, survival means kind of the same thing, but not as intense. So, what I mean by that is when I was trying to survive then, I learned positive coping skills. Mantras are a big thing for me. So, I'm always saying things to myself. I can do hard things. Saying things like, this too shall pass. Saying things like, um, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, stuff like that. It's a lot. It helps me. It's a lot easier now than back then because back then I didn't believe it. I was just saying it just because my therapist told me to say it.
Yeah.
I was being very stubborn and resentful. I'm like, yeah, this too shall pass, blah blah blah, like whatever. But now it's really a part of my everyday life. Like I catch myself sometimes whispering it out loud, even at work. Like being a teacher is hard. Being a teacher is tough, and
I bet.
my brain is going 1,000 miles per hour, handling 30 little human beings, and sometimes you just got to count to yourself. And I've caught myself a couple of times saying, 1 minute at a time. If I could just get through this 5-minute lesson, if I could just get through this 30-minute lesson, we'll be good. If I could just get to lunchtime, we would be good. Like, and so I use mantras a lot. That helps me, and it has, and also physical. I know it's kind of hard to tell. I'm a big boy, but I do a lot of long distance running. Like I sign up for a lot of 5Ks and 10Ks, and I've done a half marathon before. My goal is to lose over 100 pounds so I could do a marathon. That's to be determined. But one thing about physically, like just going for a walk every day has really helped me to where when those moments, when those thoughts creep in my head, I just go for a walk. I just go outside. And in the summer months, when it's hot out, I'll take the snake. I'll take Jafar, or I'll take my new retic, Juju. I'll just take them out with me so I can have an even better distraction. I can walk, hold the snake, and just cut the world, turn the noise off, cut the world quiet. And a lot of times that has really helped when those dark moments happen, when those negative thoughts happen, because yes, I am a 13 going on 14-year survivor. Those thoughts still pop up. Those thoughts of unworthiness, those thoughts of, life would be easier if I'm not here. Those thoughts of, you're a waste of space. It still pops up. It will never go away. It's just part of life. It's just how my brain is wired. However, I now have I have more than enough coping skills, healthy coping skills, and healthy distractions, like the animals, like working out, going on walks, or even when I get off what I did before this podcast and what I'm going to do when I get off this podcast is go in Discords and talk in the chats with certain of my reptile buddies, my homies, and we're talking projects and stuff. That has been very beneficial to me. Just us sitting on Discord talking about what are we breeding this season? This is my idea. I think with this girl, I'm going to do this. I think with this male, I'm going to do that. And it's been so beneficial for me. Even if I have nothing to contribute to the conversation, I could be on mute the whole time. And but it's keeping me distracted. It's keeping those thoughts out. And it's also giving me something to look forward to. Like, I can't think about suicide if I'm thinking about this new pairing that's coming up. I can't think about that stuff if, oh my gosh, I just got this new double head tri-stripe TSK exanthic male. I want to breed it to this, and this. Like, those thoughts can't permeate through my brain when I have something else distracting it. So it's a lot easier than back then, because back then I had nothing. I had no community. I had no animals. I had nothing to help me with when I was in my lowest point.
Right. I think a lot of us, when we're at that lowest point, we feel like we're the only one going through something,
Yes.
But the fact is, every human being walking this earth has some kind of chaos in their head. Everybody is fighting. Everyone is fighting something. There's just that some of us are willing to talk about it.
Yep.
And society in the past has made it taboo. You don't talk about this kind of things. But if you have compassion and you have love for your fellow man, you talk about these things. It's not, it don't make me less of a man because I might tear up and cry talking about something. It don't make me less of a person because I'm willing to show my vulnerability. That makes you strong.
Facts.
That makes you stronger.
And and it's good to know who you can talk about it to, because there's certain friends, God bless their soul, they're just too silly for me to talk about certain stuff with. But there are also friends that has been in my shoes. Like every October during the anniversary, I make a post, and it never fails. Every year, someone new comes out the woodwork, DM me and say, I've been there too. So now I have a community of people who been there, walked in my shoes, and now we talk to each other. There are some friends that would DM me and say, today is not a good day. And I could talk them through it. And same, I could tell them, yo, today was rough. Today I really want to blow up on somebody, but I couldn't. And we'll talk it out. We'll talk it through. So having, even if it's just one person or two people in your corner that you know, push come to shove, I can go talk to them and they will understand. They won't crack jokes. They will get it. That helps a lot.
And I want you to know I'm here and I can be that person to help you too.
Thanks. Same. Appreciate it.
Anyone out there, look, I'm disabled. I'm home most of the time. I have time. Me and my reptiles, we got time for you. Give me a shout. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Rhythm Sports Clown Factory. You can find me. It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fact is, right now, this very second, maybe someone listening, maybe someone watching, maybe someone that hits the replay game later is thinking about taking herself out. What would you say to them?
First, I understand where you're coming from, and I get it. That'll be first thing. Your feelings are valid.
Yes.
Your feelings are valid. Even if the voices in your head are lying to you, the emotions that you're feeling right now are valid. And I know it's cliche, but if you just hold on, it does get better. I'm a living testimony. It does get better. The people, you haven't met all the people you're meant to meet. You haven't loved everybody you're meant to love. You haven't experienced everything you are meant to experience. There are places that you have not even gone yet. Don't cut yourself short. Don't cut your experience short. Don't cut your love short. It may feel hard, and it does. It is hard. But there's so much better on the other side. I promise you. And it's coming from someone who still has not reached every goal that I want to reach. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, I still haven't reached all the things I want to reach. But I promise you, my life is so much better, and I'm so much happier now. This Elias is so much happier now than Elias in 2012.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you survived. And
Thank you.
What some people don't think about when they say, he's a survivor of the Korean War or a survivor of this. You're always a survivor. You're still surviving. That doesn't end. What you said there is very important. And back in 2004, when my wife Regina passed, it was definitely a hard time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a wise friend who had been through something the same. And we both are, we're coaching Little League baseball at the time. Both our sons were on the team. I was managing the team and running it. He was helping me coach. And I was dumping on him one day. He was someone I could talk to,
Mm-hmm.
And he told me two things that really got my attention. And I think about it now, it means so much more. The first one was, he said, Greg, 5 years from now, this minute, this point in time you're talking about and you're thinking about won't be so important.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll look back and think, man, I'm so much stronger than I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more to live for than I thought about. And the second thing he said, and goes with kind of what you've been saying the whole time, okay? Never let 1 minute become a bad 5 minutes, a bad half hour, a bad hour, a bad 8 hours, a bad 12 hours, a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, a bad decade. Deal with it and get it in the back.
Yep.
Put it behind you and go because in front of you somewhere, if you're lonely, there's people who will talk to you. If you feel like you're unloved, there's someone who loves you and you're overlooking it.
Yep.
kind of thing. So
Yep. And could I say this?
certainly,
And I know I wasn't naturally born male, but we do live in a patriarch society,
yes,
and I've seen this a lot. I've seen it with my grandfather who fought in Vietnam. I've seen this with my uncles. I've seen it with my father. I've seen it with my brothers. I even see it sometimes in me as a trans man who is
right,
transitioning and have to deal with certain things. Fellas, your only emotion is not anger.
that's right.
Your only emotion is not rage. It really is okay to cry. It's okay, even if you don't cry, it's okay to say, yo, what you said or what you did hurt me. My feelings were hurt. It's okay to feel we are humans. We are able to feel every single emotion that exists, that the mother nature, the universe, God, whoever you believe in, we are put on this earth to feel every single emotion. We are more than just anger and rage.
Yes, yes,
We are more than that. And so it's okay to feel hurt. If your wife said something that hurt your feelings, say that. If your children said something that hurt your feelings, say that. The biggest breakthrough in my life was the day that me and my father hashed it out and we both admitted that we were hurt. The reason why we were beefing and going at it on social media is because he was hurt and I was hurt. But we
right.
would not have gone through that had we not just been honest about it. We are beyond rage and anger. That does not have to be the default. That does not have to be the manly thing. Like, you're able to smile, you're able to love, you are capable to cry, you are able of all the things. You're able to be silly. It's okay. Just because you turned 21 doesn't mean you can't be silly and fun and crack jokes anymore. It's okay to feel every single emotion. And I feel like either right now on this live or in the replay, there is a young man who feels lonely, isolated, sad, and don't know how to express it because all he is taught is that the only thing he's allowed to feel is anger and rage. That's the only acceptable thing, and that's not true. So I hope whoever's out there listening, it's okay. You're not less of a man if you're sad, if you are in love, if you are hurt, if you are confused, feel isolated, feel lonely. Loneliness does not have to be something to be ashamed about. All of us are lonely in one way or another. All of us. There are people out there who wish they could have children and physically they can't. There are people out there that wanted a certain job or career and life didn't go that way. There are certain things, male or female, dreams, goals that someone thought in their head, when I grow up, I'm going to be this, and that did not happen. It's okay to say, I feel sad. I feel angry because my life didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to be. And that's okay. You still deserve love. You still deserve happiness. And you still deserve a community and family. And if you don't feel like it, yo, I'm your brother now. I'm your brother. I'm your family. You got it. Just reach out to somebody. Don't isolate yourself and feel like you don't belong anywhere.
And that's so true, and I'll probably cry now, but that's okay too,
It's okay.
my father died when I was 4. And
Mm,
my mother remarried, and she remarried a very violent man.
mm,
I've seen my mother beat so bad you couldn't recognize her. I've been beat so bad you couldn't recognize me. Had guns
mm.
held to my head, Russian roulette, those kind of things, and was beaten for showing emotion.
Yes,
Men have
yes.
been taught that you don't do that. And I'm here to tell you that thought, that mindset is a lie from the pits of the most evil in this world.
Yep.
We're no different than a female or anyone else. We
Mhm.
are all created in the same image. We have the same vulnerabilities and the same strengths, some more pronounced than others in different sexes. But
Mhm.
it's okay to cry. Exactly. And that's
Yes.
really important because it's destroyed relationships for me. It probably come close to me losing my current wife. If it wasn't
Mm.
for my nephew Billy in the comments in the chat and these reptiles, I wouldn't be doing this because I spent the last several years stuck in my head. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to hear about other people's issues. It was just, okay, I got this going on. Who cares? And thanks to my nephew and these beautiful creatures, I can do this and share this.
Yeah.
I am so excited. Well, I want to thank you, Elias, so much
Uh-uh.
for sharing something so personal. And I think what stands out to most of me about your story isn't just that the reptiles helped you, it's that it turned you into a healer, from
Mm.
antisocial to an educator, from survival to purpose, and from silence to being an impact. And that's important and that's powerful.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And to anyone listening out there before we sign off, if you're struggling, you are not alone. There are people who want you here. There's people who will listen. Everyone in this chat will listen to you. I've talked to most every one of them. This community that we call a community is
Hmm.
the most awesome group I've ever been associated with. And I've been in a lot of them, okay? But
Yeah.
for the big part, you know, they're so loving and caring. And I want to challenge everyone out there right now to something personal. It's just me. Those of you in the chat in our community, over the next couple of weeks, think of something that you can write to Bosa and encourage him with. Because
Yes.
those dark moments come at the most unexpected times, and you
Hmm.
never know what that one comment or that one word will encourage you and be that impact. So until
Yes.
next week, for Behind the Scales, open your eyes and help somebody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Elias.
Love y'all.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Good night, y'all. Good day. Have a good afternoon.